coming through the final turn. The red lights go out and the race gets underway then. And it wasn't a particularly organised rolling start, it has to be said, but nevertheless it is the Ariel Atom that has gone into the lead of the race then. That is the pole position car of Christian Douglas. There he is, and he's got the red Ginetta of number 169, Chris Everall, alongside him, and then it looks like it's Dave Graham's Ginetta G55, the grey car, that's still there in third position as we're watching some of the back markers make their way around the banking for the first time, Josh.
Yeah, that's right, getting re-familiarised with the Anglesey circuit myself. I've been here for a few years, and some different angles that we've been able to brought to you here on Alpha Live, and the leaders then making their way halfway round this first lap of the coastal circuit that is in use this weekend. And it's nose to tail for the lead. These two cars were only separated by 1600ths of a second in qualifying. To expect Christian Douglas's Ariel Atom and Chris Everall's Ginetta G55, which I think has the big block V8 in it, will have different advantages around this circuit, because there's quite a lot of slow corners you can see here through the corkscrew. Low gears used there, and then of the first part of the track, that's quite quick, isn't it, Ian? Yep. Particularly as they go uphill through school.
Yep, so lap 1 has just been completed then, and it is indeed Christian Douglas that has come through in the lead by 0.8 of a second from Chris Everall in second place, and they're about 3 seconds clear of Dave Graham in third place, who in turn has got ahead of Wayne Spiller's Mazda RX-8 in fourth position. You can see the timing tower there on the left-hand side of the screen with the different coloured squares on the background to the numbers representing the different classes that these drivers are competing in as well. And here's a good battle. This is for the class lead, isn't it? For 10th and 11th position overall between Rodney Teague and the Colin Dunn Clio, and they're side by side as they head down to church.
Colin Dunn, the championship leader, coming here to Anglesey. It's an important battle for him to try and come out on top of, but he is currently behind Rodney Teague. He was at the start of the lap, but the two Renaults are side by side there as they headed up through school. Meanwhile, the battle for the lead continues between Christian Douglas and Chris Everall. They're pulling clear of David Graham, who's out there in his Ginetta G55. But here's that Renault battle. Around the outside is attempting Colin Dunn there, I think, but they've been joined by the Honda Civic, which is also in the same class of Andrew Williams. So this is a three-way battle for the lead of the treaded tyre Class B battle, as they make their way there out of Peel, I think, and down towards the corkscrew.
Yes, Class B in the treaded tyre division, that is for Saloon's road and sporting GT cars up to 2 litres, also kit cars up to 1600cc. So that battle is just about coming over the line now, and Teague actually has lost a little bit of ground to Colin Dunn as they came through to complete the second lap of the race.
Yes, Colin Dunn got that move completed up, I think, at Rocket. So he's now trying to pull clear of Rodney Teague. In qualifying, he was a second and a half or so quicker. Car number 14 isn't too far away either. That's another car within that class, which is Tyrone Dowdall's Renault Clio, and he's lapping quicker than the two cars in front of him, so he's catching them. Very wide there, out of the fast right-hander at Church Corner was the erstwhile leader within the class, Rodney Teague, but hasn't lost him too much momentum, I don't think, in heading uphill.
Doesn't look like it, though momentum is crucial at this circuit with this long back. Well, it's not really a straight, but it might as well be. It's a long right-hand curve past the racing school, but it is important to take momentum with you as a general point out of Church Corner. And Teague there is coming under increasing pressure now, I would say, from Andrew Williams in that Civic Type R, and also Tyrone Dowdall as well in the next of the Clios. Of course, he qualified in 14th position. Up front, I should say, it's still Christian Douglas leading, and now at the end of 3 laps his lead is up to more than 3 seconds. Still, this battle rages on for second place now within Class BT. Yeah, that's right. I've noticed out the window as well there's a battle for the BS class lead as well, the slick tyre Class B, because Wayne Spiller's Mazda RX-8 under pressure from Gareth John's Ginetta G40, and they're also involved in the battle with Derry Davies in his Darien, who's in a different class, so we'll pick that up as the race goes on. Yes, he's up to 4th place now, isn't he? Wayne Spiller was in 4th position initially, but Derry Davies now up into 4th place overall. We're watching, though, this battle within Class B. Out in front of that, you can see the blue Clio turning through Church a bit earlier. That's Colin Dunn, so he's now a couple of seconds or so clear in that class. He is, as Josh mentions, the championship lead coming into this weekend by 12 points over Todd Garner, who's currently only third within his class, Class BS. That's a slick-tyred version of the class that we're watching here. And Tyrone Dowsall third in the point standings. A big lock up there by Andrew Williams as he goes under braking, and that costs him momentum at the first part of Rocket as they now turn through Rocket 2 and towards Peel once again.
Yeah, lots of tyre squill around that part of the track as well. Very slow corners up there, so you need good traction, you can turn in as well, and good braking obviously into the Rocket, particularly from the fastest part of the track to probably one of the slowest parts of the circuit. Up there. Here they come down into the corkscrew now, and they're being joined by the other Clio there, aren't they, the Tyrone Dowsall's car. You mentioned Christian Douglas still leading. He's going quicker than he went in qualifying this morning. He set a lap time 1 minute 11.82, and so that means he's pulling clear of Chris Everall at this stage of the race, but this battle continues here for 11th position.
And it's worth mentioning it is the first time these cars have been here to Anglesey, this championship's been here to Anglesey, so new lap records are being established today, and that lap of 1 minute 11.82 for guidance around this 1.55 mile circuit, 77.69 miles per hour, so very nearly a 78 mile per hour average. It is quite a sinuous course, lots of slower elements to the circuit, so it's one of the lower average lap speed circuits that we race at. Now here's a battle, and this is for 7th and 8th position overall. You've got the Vauxhall Tigra Silhouette battling with the car that's third in Class BS at the moment, but the man that's second in the championship, Todd Garner, in the Mill Street Motors, entered Clio.
Yeah, that's right. He's been an overall race winner over the course of the season as well. 4 different winners so far this year. Todd Garner's won a couple, Damien Lonatano's won a couple, Royce Lloyd has won one, and Chris Everall's took the most overall victories with 5, but today he is being headed, as we've mentioned, by Christian Douglas. But for Todd Garner, he's involved in this battle with the Silhouette Vauxhall Tigra, which is driven by John Morris, another of the invitational class entries as they head up there into Church Corner. The Tigra, the lower car, gets a good run there, and the 2 litre Vauxhall motor there will pull up ahead of the 2 litre Clio. The Tigra, though, much lower car, so a bit more slippery through the air, goes through of the Generation 4 Clio Cup cut, so into 7th position for John Morris, down to 8th position, but not a change in class position, importantly, for Todd Garner. He's still there 3rd within his class, and today he's a bit further back on Wayne Spiller and Gareth John, who are the class leaders there, although Gareth John fallen quite a long way behind Wayne Spiller now. Yes. They were involved in the battle, so that means Todd Garner is only, I think, a few seconds behind him.
Yes, I think that's right. We'll keep an eye on that. Gareth John in the Ginetta G40. You can just see that cudged up ahead on the road. There it is, the black car with the white V on the bonnet. So Gareth John there is about 3 seconds clear now, I think, of John Morris, and then Todd Garner coming through next with about just over halfway through this race now, 6 3/4 minutes left to go. This is the Derry Davis number 5 car. He's in 4th position overall in this Darien. Always good to see the Darien out, and behind him you have Wayne Spiller, who's the BS class leader. Derry Davis competing within Class D here, and Class D is for what's defined as supercars. And you can see that Derry has the black cross on the yellow background on the rear of his car. Got a little bit unsettled there as it makes its way through Rocket, and as they drop now down towards the corkscrew, coming up to lap 1 of the MGBs. I think that must be the 45 car of Neil Thomas.
Darien is a Welsh-built sports car as well, so it's great to have that here in the Welsh Racing Drivers Association Championship. A manufacturer going for a few decades and still building cars now, I think, as well. So great to have that out there.
Most well known in rallying these days, I think, aren't they? Rather than circuit racing. So there is the 96 car, which is the Mazda RX-8 of Wayne Spiller. 5.5 minutes to go. They've put a lap on Neil Thomas, who's second within his class in the 45 MGB. And is that an off for number 52, the BMW there? It looks like it is for Mike Cook in his BMW 330 Club Sport. Back up to speed now, though.
Yeah, you mentioning there Wayne Spiller leading his class. He's won his class 2 times this year. He's only 15 points behind Todd Garner, the championship leader within the class, who we've mentioned is only running 3rd today. So that could get interesting. Meanwhile, we watch Rodney Teague there, who's fallen 5 or so seconds behind Colin Dunn, who continues to lead Class BT. But Rodney Teague has pulled away from Andrew Williams, who is still involved in the battle with Tyrone Dowsall, and that group of cars are about to be lapped by David Cray, and the Civics made a bit of a mistake there, Ian.
Yeah, that's Andrew Williams, of course, so does that put him under a bit more pressure from Tyrone Dowsall as they come through the banking on lap 8 of the race for them? They're not too far away from being, but lapped there by the David Craham Ginetta, so he's already on to lap 9. So he's now in the middle of the 2 cars there, disputing position, 3rd and 4th position within Class BT.
Yeah, David Craham, we've seen much of in this race. He's going a little bit quicker than he did in qualifying. He's done a 1 minute 15.6 in this race. That means he's clear of Derry Davis in the Darien, but he's not able to run with the pace of Christian Douglas and Chris Everell up front. Meanwhile, now he's got past that battle for 12th position. Andrew Williams and Tyrone Dowsall can continue their battle as they head up there into Peel Corner. And it's the Civic in front. The Clio got a bit sideways there, I think, of Dowsall, so he's dropped again a car length forward too. So at various parts of the lap, they've got different pace to one another. So they're going to come through to complete what is lap number 8 for those competitors.
Oh, as John Morris has been off in the Tigra, so he has lost some ground there. It must have been a bit of a spin possibly, or a half spin up at Rocket, the left-hander, slow left-hander at the end of the longest, fastest section of the circuit along the backstretch past School. Here's the 4th and 5th place battle coming through. Oh, and Morris looks like he might have to retire, I'm afraid. He's got a problem, hasn't he? So maybe it's actually a mechanical issue. Doesn't look like it's, was it a tyre possibly?
The front left, there's a bit of smoke.
There's smoke off the front left now, isn't there?
Yeah.
So he's pulling off the circuit at Peel there. Marshall will, he's right next to the steps down to the Marshal's post, so he knows exactly where to put the car. But that smoke, a little worrying for John Morris, so he drops down the order. We see Todd Garner now move to 7th place. 2.5 minutes or so left to go.
Yeah, he'd been having a good race because he'd gone a 2.5 quicker than he managed in qualifying this morning, but it doesn't look like he's going to make the completion of the race, unfortunately. And now there's problems for that Renault Clio driver we were watching earlier, Tyrone Dowsall. He's obviously outbraked himself down there. There's a slippery surface flag out, I noticed there, Ian.
That's probably not unrelated to what happened with John Morris, I would suspect.
Yeah, so we've seen at least one, he's a bit sideways there too, one driver go off. So that's a problem spot up here at Rocket, possibly, where Todd Garner is currently heading his Clio. Does he get through the corner okay? I think he does. He's just lapped one of the MGBs, I think, there. So good to have a couple. Oh no, I think that's the MGB GT of Neil Thomas, isn't it? I think
yes.
Reese's lap 2's in 14th position. There is Neil Thomas. Good to have those MGs here today. And now both of those cars are about to be lapped by our race leader, yes, Christian Douglas, in the Aero Atom, who will probably have 2 laps to go. Yes,
I think he'll get 2 more laps in, won't he? Because there's a 1.5 minutes or so left on the clock. His best lap time's a 1:11. His lap time is a 1:13. So we'll watch the 52 Mike Cook BMW that's in 15th position in this race.
Yeah, we saw him have that spin earlier in, but he's starting to recover now, yes, and is catching the MG we were just watching, Neil Thomas. So Mike yes. Cook could get a position before the end of the race. He's just a couple or so seconds behind the MG. There's the leader though, Christian Douglas, turning his way through Church, and then we'll accelerate up towards School. It's quite an extraordinary looking car, this, isn't it? With the big wings on it. Yes,
with those appendages front and rear, it gives it the look of a single seater, really, doesn't it? With the those wings on there, but it is effectively a 2-seater car, the exoskeleton design, the Aerial Atom. There was at one point a series dedicated to Aerial Atom's racing, relatively short-lived.
Now, I wonder if Christian Douglas might have raced in that, but can't be overly sure on that one. But
yes, certainly in this race he's 10.5 seconds ahead of Chris Everell here, with about a lap to go. He's just about to come through Corkscrew to complete his penultimate lap then. I think the last lap board is about to be shown. Yep, Marshall on the finish line displays that to him now.
The Atom was first built in 1999. Can you believe? That's longer than I realised. So, and like you say, we haven't seen that many racing. So, and this one, obviously, with a lot of modifications, it's got some mud guards, hasn't it, as well, to cover the wheels, and it gives it a much bigger look than what I think the standard car has.
Yes, it's quite a commanding presence on the circuit, isn't it? With that large wing, and it's obviously working pretty well. As I say, down to 111.82, about 6/10 of a second faster than imagined in practice. This gives you a good impression of the gradient that we have here at Anglesey, doesn't it? The cars really do have to climb past the racing school and then up towards the left-hander at Rocket. Then they turn, and there's this plateau at the top of the circuit here, so through Rocket 2 and towards Peel, and there are some slower cars ahead of Christian Douglas here. They may well be lapped, and that includes Verity Banks, I think, in the Fiesta, who, yes, is going to be passed before the end, with yellow flags out as well for the John Morris car, but it's going to be Christian Douglas coming through the final turn now, and checker flag will be made ready, and Christian Douglas, the first winner of the day here at Anglesey Circuit in the WRDA Sports and Saloon Car Championship. He wins in the Aerial Atom, a convincing victory. Here's our second place driver, that's Chris Everall, and the gap between them at the end was 8.64 seconds, and then it's going to be quite a long gap back to Dave Craham in third position. He's still just making his way down through the corkscrew, I think. So we'll see him in a moment, but the lapped car's coming through. Neil Thomas there in the MGB. Here's Craham now in third place. He takes the checkered flag, just lapping that BMW of Mike Cook, who didn't make a place in the end, did he, on Thomas?